second matchup of the day of the Call of Duty League Major 1 qualifiers. Today on Friday, we're going to be having the Florida Mutineers against the Minnesota Rokkr. Minnesota Rokkr is at a minus 240 favorites, plus 180 underdogs for Florida Mutineers. As we can see here, the whole roster from bottom to top: Vickle, Bance, Major Maniac, Afro, Brack, Attach, Havok, Cammy, all the players that are going to be participating in this matchup. As we can see here, down from Vickle, uh, 87 fantasy points, 79 fantasy points for his first couple of matches. Not too bad, but now I think he's going to be going up against a robust Rokkr team. I do believe Rokkr is going to 3-0 Minnesota, or not Minnesota, or Florida rather. Uh, so me personally, I'm gonna be fading uh, Florida, but I do think Bance at 7,200 might be a good play if they get a 3-0 here in this situation. He hasn't been doing the best in the kills department, but 7,200, it's a possibility. Although there are other 7K players that I rather more than him. Right now, Major Maniac has had a couple good games. 127 against his first matchup against the Vegas Legion. 7,400. He might be a contrarian play, but like I said, I'm going to be fading him. I don't think they're going to be doing too well. As you can see here, um, for the Florida side, I can't really tell which match or which map is best for them because they've only really won one map on literally every, I don't know, one map on each map. They've lost one on each as well, and then a couple on Ricardo as well. So we really don't have enough information. So I'm just gonna go off of the current stats and how Rokkr's been looking so good. Afro at 7,800 is a steal of a deal. Grab him, roster him, whatever you got to do. 96 fantasy points for the first matchup against Texas. That tells you a lot. 123 against Toronto of all teams, 89 kills and 74 deaths against that team lets you know that he is going to put a good performance against Florida as well. Afro is my favorite play here. Brack at 8,000. I mean, we saw him play a little good against Optic, or not Optic, against the Legion. 77 kills, 72 deaths. Really good. But against Minnesota, I think I'm going to fade him. Um, if you look at Attach at 8,800, he's a little bit expensive, but he did post 110 fantasy points against Toronto. I feel like Attach is a player who's always a little bit too expensive, but he always posts up like his fantasy points, and people fade him most of the time because he always looks to be too expensive, but he ends up pulling through sometimes. But I think that at 8,800, he might be a little too expensive if they don't get a 3-0. But still, Attach, really good play. Havok at 9,000. I don't know if I like that. He got 100 fantasy points against Vegas, and then he got absolutely destroyed against Optic. Absolutely destroyed. He got 29 kills and 57 deaths. At 9,000, he was a humongous flop. Probably nobody got as destroyed as he did uh, back last week when they played. Um, I'm not confident in that price tag for him right now, obviously. And then Cammy at 10,400, I feel like he's too expensive. Any player that's at 10,400 needs to be posting upwards of 110 fantasy points every matchup, and Cammy hasn't. Obviously, the first matchup against Texas, and then against Toronto, obviously he did, but slightly. So I think that at that price tag, honestly, the only people I'm attracted to here are Afro and Attach. I would say those are the two best players here for that situation. And if you guys can see here on prize picks, if we go down to the props, we got Afro at 52.5 kills for games 1 through 3. I think this is a really good play. I would say he goes over. If he has a good search game and he has a good hard point game, he's definitely going to go over it. Other than that, I really don't see any other decent plays other than Cammy at 20.5 for first game. I think this is a really good one. Cammy at over 20, at over 20.5. I really do think that this one's gonna hit. Um, Really, really like that. I also really like Pred over 23.5 kills. But nevertheless, I really do like how that play looks for Cammy. There's a lot of other plays here. As you can see, Afro 7 kills for map 2. This one could hit. This one could hit. Afro is a beast in search. I like that too. But remember, whenever you're gonna go get some picks for prizepicks, always use pages like breakingpoint.gg to look at your stats, or lostful.gg to see your stats as well for any players. These are really good websites so that you can watch the stats. You can keep track of all those things. As you can see here, you can see game modes, map records, and stuff like that. You can see the vetoes that they pick for the matches or for the maps that they don't want to play. This is a really good resource, and as you can see here, obviously Florida isn't looking too good. And if we go over to uh, Minnesota Rokkr, we can see here that obviously they're good. 3-1 against both of their teams. Obviously, Texas one was BS. They were going to lose that matchup, but they still performed decent overall across the board on the other matches that they didn't obviously take for free, right? But this is everybody's looking good. Obviously Afro's looking like their best player right now, and then Cammy's a close second. But yeah, I think this matchup is going to be a 3-0 victory on the Minnesota Rokkr side. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Like, subscribe, and I'm going to be discussing the other matchups in subsequent videos.